Is there any similarity in your mind to what he did and what T. Martin did? Because both had great defenses, both continued to get better throughout their career. T was more physically gifted. Both made plays with their legs in clutch situations. Any similarities there?
I can't go with that one just
Okay.
because
Well, I'm wrong a lot, Fred.
I,
That's
I
fine.
think I think T following a legend
Okay.
with no expectations whatsoever. I mean, we weren't even picked to be in the top 10. The start of that season, definitely certainly wasn't picked to be in the national championship game. I think when you look at his situation, you just won a national championship, and the next season coming in, it's expected that you at least you got everybody coming back. You did lose a lot of guys, but a lot of guys played the year before. Your defense, was stacked. Offensive line is still good. Good, you know, talent at running back and those type of things. I think it was expected to see what you can do the next year. And I think he did a good job of showing that he was capable of getting the job done. In T's situation, no one expected for us to be that good. No one, except for us. So I think it's a little bit different situation.
Fair.
Fred, sticking on that point, because Tennessee's in a similar situation this year with moving on from not a Peyton Manning legend, but I think a fairly pretty good quarterback legend in Hendon
Hmm.
Hooker from
Hmm.
Tennessee. And Joe Milton seems like he's going to take the job. Do you see similarities and parallels where, Joe Milton and T. Martin both, well, Joe Milton lost the starting job, but they had to sit behind another quarterback for 2 years. And I feel like T, I've heard say a lot that second year he sat behind Peyton Manning really helped him develop as a quarterback
Hmm.
for when he was going to start in 98. Do you see a similarity with Joe Milton sitting behind Hendon Hooker and kind of really developing over 2 years and getting ready to take over now?
Let's definitely hope so. I think so as well. I watched him in the bowl game against Clemson, and if he can continue to go that trajectory, I think he's going to be a stellar quarterback for us the rest of the season. I mean, the guy has a cannon for an arm, and we've all seen it in the memes and the jokes and those type of things of him overthrowing people. But I did watch in the game against Clemson where he put a little bit more air on the ball, and he gave his guys an opportunity to go up and get it. Um, Anything short, I have a lot of confidence in him throwing those short routes because of how strong his arm is. But the one thing that I think that helped for T and any other quarterback is the fact that you have continuity in your coaching staff, in your quarterback room, and you're running the same offense with the same terminology. That makes a difference too. When you have that type of continuity with your players and they know that this is what we're running, we're working on those things. I think that's what made Peyton so much better too. He was able to understand the playbook inside and out, and we were running the same thing. We got the same terminology, no coaching changes, no things like that. We're handling everything we got to handle. I think that is um, paramount into being a good quarterback in the SEC. And I know a lot of people get this guy I'm going to bring up, Garantano, four offensive coordinators, 4 years in a row. That makes a difference. That makes a big difference because you got to learn a whole different concept. So being able to have the same concept and the same players around you, and you're all working on that one thing over and over and over and over again, I think that makes you a better quarterback. And I think that's going to be the case with Joe Milton. It's his third year being here, same coaching staff for 2 years. So I think that's going to help.
What would you, given that you were around T, what would you tell Joe Milton about replacing Heisman Trophy finalist?
You don't have to replace him. You got to do what you got to do. You got to handle your business and take care of your job. Your job is to not turn the ball over. Your job is to push the ball down the field. Your job is to manage this football team and to lead it. Your job is not to go out and do what Peyton Manning did. Your job is not to go out and do what Hendon Hooker did. You need to go out and do what Joe Milton does best.
Yeah, and I call him a finalist. He should have been. He was on my ballot, but he actually wasn't. At what point did you believe that T was going to be just fine? Was it even before Peyton left?
We always thought T could ball. His talent spoke for itself. He could run. He had a cannon for an arm, and he was not a guy that was easily brought down. But I think the day that we had confidence in T, but that 1 year after Peyton left, this is the first time this ever happened. We go green jerseys all the time with quarterbacks. You can't touch them, right? Well, this particular spring, there was no green jerseys. Everyone was live, including the quarterbacks. So we kept thinking to ourselves, man, what's going to happen if T gets hit and he gets hurt? And we were waiting on that one collision between him and a certain person, either him and Raynaud or him and Al. And the him and Al situation happened right down the sideline. T broke out, and him and Al hit each other. Well, take that back. Al hit T. I think that you could hear a big gasp, like, is he gonna get up? And he popped right up and ran back to the huddle. At that very moment, you knew he's battle tested, he's ready. Don't touch him again. That's it. If he can take a lick from Al, he's fine. He's gonna be all right with us. Now, from this point on, protect him. That's it. Coach put him on the green jersey. Al made that comment in practice. He's like, that's it. Don't hit him no more. He our quarterback. Get him a green jersey. And the next day he had a green jersey.
That was spring '98.
Spring '98. We knew what we had as a quarterback. I mean, he showed us who he was. We already knew that. We're just waiting to see it, on a regular basis, and we got a chance to see that, and that made a difference. Huge difference.
Great stuff.
Yeah, I kind of want to stay on the T. Martin story because I still think it's one of the most underrated stories in Tennessee football history for a guy to, sit 2 years. Could have started for 4 years at anywhere else, honestly, given his talent, and waited 2 years and then wins a national title. And I think of what did it speak about his intangibles to win that Syracuse game? He struggled a bit throughout the game, but he leads a huge touchdown drive in the fourth quarter, and then he leads a game-winning drive against the top 25 team, Donovan McNabb, on the road, his first start. What did that speak of? What type of clutchness did that require to be able to do that?
Well, I mean, we had been seeing it in practice every day, so it was no different. And we were waiting on him to just break out and show who T. Martin was, and he did. That 60-yard, what was it, 60 or 70-yard run he had against them? It may have been 50 yards. Could have been 30. I can't remember. The older I get, the longer that run gets.
It's like 89 yards now, Brad.
But it was that one run on a third down. He gets the first down. They hit him out of bounds and give us a 15 yards outside, on top of that. I mean, puts us right in position to win the game, I mean, that's what you do. That's what you got from T. Martin. He knew how to win, and he wanted to win, and he showed it. And that was, for us, being honest, we knew who McNabb was, but we had T. Martin. We didn't really know exactly who McNabb was until we played him, though. We didn't realize how big of a win Syracuse was at the Carrier Dome until later in the season. And the next week, Michigan and Syracuse play, and they play in Michigan at the Big House, and Syracuse won 41-10. And I will never forget that, because right then we realized, man, that might be a good football team we just beat, because we didn't give them a lot of respect going in there. It was a Big East. They can't play football with us. They did. McNabb was a big part of that. Their defense was pretty good. Their safeties and secondary were amazing. Bullock, the linebacker, played years in the NFL for the Titans. So, I mean, they had a squad. It was just the fact that we didn't know much about them, But before that season was over with, we realized exactly how good they were.
The other thing, I've talked to T about that season, and he felt like that he was somewhat handcuffed for most of the '98 year, that they didn't just give him kind of free reign of the offense, and he thought he could do more. And I'm curious if you think Tennessee's coaches will limit what Joe Milton can do early, or do you just let him go at it full bore with the offense? What would you do?
Different mindsets when it comes to coaching. I love Coach Cut, but I think the most open the offense was when T. Martin, when we played against Florida State, and Randy Sanders was actually the coordinator that week. Coach Cutcliffe had just taken the job as an Ole Miss head coach, and he did a great job. I have nothing bad to say about Cutcliffe. He did a great job for us, and he's one of the best coaches around. But I will say that game was the most open our offense was against Florida State. Went downfield a few times, and I think Randy Sanders did a great job of saying, you know what, T, I'm going to give you your opportunity to show what you can do and also show what I can do calling plays. And it was wide open. And I think that's what won us the game. Had we gone about it the same way, I don't know if we beat Florida State. Those big plays downfield helped us. Peerless Price to, amazing. It was just a great feeling to see those guys connect downfield and see what they've done all day, all week in practice and all year in practice, and finally got a chance to see it in a football game. So I think that was good for T. But also with Joe Milton, I don't look at Josh doesn't have a stop button. He doesn't. Josh doesn't have that, okay, I'm going to sit on the lead. Hey, man, Josh trying to score. He wants points. He's scoring. If he can score on you, he's going to score on you. It's back to that old day back in the day when I heard Steve Spurrier say, my job is to score, your job is to stop me. Josh scoring. So he's not going to hold back. No. Either you can get that job done with your arm talent or you won't be starting. I don't see him tapering it back. I think he's going to go forward. Yeah. I like that too. I like a guy who will take the lead and put his foot on your neck and keep it going. Hey, man, foot on the gas, down the hill. Let's go.
I think I've said this before, I think he's a clone of Spurrier without the smart aleckness.
Exactly. Yeah, he definitely doesn't have that part. But offensive mind-wise, I think that's the same. He's going to go at you. You're going to have to stop him.
Was there any Spurrier comment that got under your skin?
A few of them.
You can't smell citrus without a U and a T.
That one still get under my skin to this day.
I'm not gonna. I'll never bring it up again. And I won't tell you that it's on his coasters at his restaurant in Gainesville either.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Needless to say, I'd never go to that restaurant.
Yeah, we're not making a trip there anytime soon. Portions of the program brought to you by Zach England of Best and Brock. Zach's got your back. You can go toe-to-toe with the insurance company attorneys when it comes to personal injuries and get your just rewards. That's Zach England of Best and Brock. Zach's got your back. Caleb?
Well, Fred, I want to say on that because you seem to have a feeling that I was just pointing out all of y'all's failures with you last week. So
you talk about some of the worst losses, Nebraska and Florida. But didn't have any more bigger than those. I mean, maybe Memphis, but outside of that, you didn't bring that one up. But I brought it up so you wouldn't.
What's funny is Kevin Cobb's brother was the PE teacher at the school I went to.
You say that?
No, sorry.
He was down for the record. His elbow was.
He was down. I'm from Memphis, and that was the first game my brother ever went to. Was that Memphis Tennessee game? But yeah, he was. But
for the record, I'm sorry to cut you off. For the record, he was down, and the referee blew the whistle.
Oh, the ref blew the whistle? I didn't know that.
Go back and watch the TV copy. It said you can hear it.
Oh, okay.
He half blew, but he blew. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
That's the intent. He intended to end the play.
Okay, I didn't know that, but his elbow is definitely down. There's no question.
Yeah.
He was down, but y'all had a Heisman caliber quarterback score only 17 points against a 4-17. That's,
Look at Caleb.
Hold on now, Caleb. They had a lot of NFL football players on that team, and they were the number one ranked defense in the nation.
They did. That was the Rip Sherry years. They didn't have a good defense.
And Caleb's about 600 miles away from Fred right now.
That's the one game okay.
To y'all successes, because that's where I was actually going to go. I didn't bring up Memphis. You guys did.
Well, I tried to bring it up so you wouldn't, but you did.
What changed with 98 Florida? And what was it that, because we talked about Spurrier's offense, what changed? What did you guys do differently to really figure out their offense? Because it seemed like I actually think y'all kind of figured them out partially throughout 97, but definitely in 98, it seemed like y'all just shut them down. Did anything schematically change during that time?
There's a few things changed. Me and Deion Grant became the starters at secondary. I'm saying that because we decided we want to change the defense. We're going to change it. We did. So yeah.
I respect that.
But I'm being honest. I mean, I think we had some really good calls. Coach Tavis did a great job of, coming up with blitz passages that week. But I don't think anyone thought we could beat Florida, first of all. I think we coached to win the game, but didn't know if we could or not. But every year we played against Florida, they changed how we practiced, or the little things we did, the giggles, or laughing and poking fun, or just being the locker room the same way. It wasn't the same Florida week. Everything was so rigid and strict. And hey, man, forget that. We got them in our house. We don't have a Peyton. We don't have a Leonard Little. We don't have a Terry Farrell. We don't have a Marcus Nash. This is our team. We're gonna do everything the same way we've been doing it. We're not changing anything this week. So everybody kind of was like, nope. Coaches would say, stop that laughing, and we're gonna laugh anyway. We just
Well,
did. I mean,
it's funny you mentioned that because I interviewed. Do you remember Mondre Dickerson?
Yep.
Okay. I interviewed him. It was back when we could grab you guys one-on-one, and you can't do that anymore. It's all a press conference setting. But I just asked him, I said, is there anything different about the coaches in Florida week? And he said, yeah, they get real tight. So that didn't go over really well with Phillip and the guys, as you can imagine.
But it was the truth. He told the truth.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that the players it's interesting. It's not funny. It's interesting that you say the players just kind of took over and said, listen, here's the deal. This is not going to be a tense week. That's pretty unique, Fred. I dig that.
Well, because we play the way we play. Do your job first, and then you help. Handle your business and do what you have to do. And I think that week, I remember Sean Ellis, we would always play a flag football game, like a touch football game, and the linemen would be like the big guys, and the linemen would be like the receivers and stuff, and the little guys would be like the linemen. So quarterbacking would be Sean Ellis and Al Wilson, or you know what I mean, stuff like that. Just something to just kind of play around and like laugh and joke a little bit, see if you can catch the ball. And it was just fun, right? We did that every week on a Friday. Well, Florida week, they wouldn't let us do it. All week long, everyone kept saying, man, we're playing our touch football game. We're going to play it. I don't care what they say. If they tell us we can't do it, we're going to do it anyway. And literally, we did. And they didn't have a problem with it. Coach Chambers was out there laughing. He started throwing the ball around. I think it opened us up a little bit more. We weren't so tight going into the game. And we got a chance to play the game like we wanted to play it. We were loose. And that's how our team had always been against anyone else. Just against Florida, it was like, why is everything such a big deal now when we've been doing it this way all year? So I think that was part of the change and helping us win a national championship as well. But beating Florida that year had a lot to do with us not changing our stride. We did what we were supposed to do. We did our job.
That is gold. Absolute gold. I love talking to Fred.